right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. This is Javva, and he is super freaking fucking awesome. I'm so excited you're getting to meet him. I know you don't know me from Adam, but that's okay. And this is his talk. Social media, save the girl.
Yes,
save the world, save the girl. And so he's going to give us an awesome presentation. I'm very excited. Couple rules: do not throw things at speakers. See, we don't throw things over there either. We don't throw things at them. We throw things at you. We sell cool things like t-shirts and random vendor swag, which I'm really sucky at throwing, but redistribute. So we don't throw things. We also don't heckle speakers because they go through a whole lot to get brave enough to stand in front of us, so we do not heckle them. We save that for QA later. And we do not take pictures. If you take pictures and you are not a press pass guy, we have to throw you out. So please do not do that. Even though he is awesome, we want to take pictures of him, we do not do that. So with all due ado, let me go ahead and open up the floor to Javva. Cool dude, awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that lovely introduction. I was wondering who you were speaking about there. So let's see if we can get this going. Now, I have got some soundish video clips in here, and we don't have great sound, so I'm going to lean over and put it to the microphone and see if we can get it to work that way. A quick disclaimer before I do start. Where is this thing? Okay, a quick disclaimer before I do start. The talk is entitled how Embracing Social Media Helped Me to Stop the Hacker, Save the World, and Get the Girl. This is not constituting of professional advice. Please, results may vary from person to person. Please seek professional advice before embarking on any social media activity, and do not undertake these activities while under the influence of alcohol. It can be quite career-limiting. So, without further ado, I'm going to try and see if this hack job works. Please come in, sit down, make yourself comfortable. You are in the right place. Let's see.
Welcome to this presentation. We hope you enjoy it. If you're bored, there are other talks. I know it's time for the main event.
Oh my god.
Video's kind of my thing, so I sort of include videos everywhere everything I do. This is kind of like a fun talk. Please interact at any time. Don't heckle, but interact. That's cool. I'll try to answer any questions, and otherwise I'll ignore you and say, okay, we'll do it at the end, or it's covered at some point later on. This is quite a personal journey of mine. So a lot of the stuff is directly related to me, but then I've taken a lot of the stuff and I've generalized it so that maybe others can apply some of these learnings and say that's cool, or he's full of shit. So social media has actually really changed my life. It's been one of these tools that it's like a nation gaining a WMD. They suddenly become one of the big boys. And that's what social media done for me. I spent a long time in information security. I mean, this is basically all I've ever worked in. And it's changed me greatly. So today, you probably, if you've ever followed me, it's naive and arrogant of me to assume that all of you follow me. But if you ever do, you probably see me in poses like this on my world tours, like trying to be a badass, looking more like Brokeback Mountain, I think. But I was a very different person many years ago. Okay, maybe not externally, but on the inside, I was. So let's start with a bit of history. It all started when I was a little lad. I'd been working in security for 6 years or so, and I had a lot of questions. I was going through a very confused phase in my life. I used to think, well, you know, why am I not progressing up the career ladder? Why are people who are dickheads appearing on CNN or getting quoted in SC magazine, Eleanor? Why is it that, you know, I've hit this glass ceiling, no one knows me, my boss really doesn't care about me. And we talk a lot about this problem that affects women in IT quite a lot, that, oh, they're underrepresented, they don't get ahead, they don't do this. Hey, I was one of those guys who was in that same situation. I'm sure there are other guys like that. And, you know, not everyone's like, you know, that gifted, not everyone's that confident, not everyone's that outgoing and great that they can jump through all these things. So I was in a bit of a dilemma. I wasn't that clever that I could create my own operating system or my own Linux distro or something like that and make my mark on the InfoSec world, but you know, surely there was something I could do. So I went and I looked at others who are not in information security, because we have this tendency to focus only within information security, and we try to fix all our problems and reinvent the wheel time and time again. So I went to say, okay, how have people done it externally? Because this isn't a problem related just to our industry. So Mother Teresa, she wasn't the only person on the planet doing good charity work. Yet, you know, she's one of the most well-known and most well-respected people in that sort of field. JFK, I mean, I tried to make the talk more US friendly, that's why I put in my CFP, so I might be wrong on some of your American facts, in which case you'll have to forgive me. We don't really look after the colonies that much anymore. So you know, JFK, he's like a really popular, you know, the Kennedy family and everything, they're really popular, really famous, you know, and there's all these other presidents in between who, you know, I really don't know much about. And it's surprising, when I was doing a search for JFK, you can't really find a bad photo of him anywhere on the internet, which is interesting. You look at other people. Oprah Winfrey, what was she, a weather girl, I think, many years ago? And then she grew up into this big sort of like chat show host and a brand in her own right. So what was different? What did she do differently from any of the other weather girls in any of the local TV stations? And I thought, if I understand what she'd done differently, then what could an average IT security person do differently to make themselves into a brand or make themselves more better known and get their own chat show and be famous? The Dalai Lama, he's famous for whatever reason he's famous for. Jamie Oliver, he's not the only Essex white boy who knows how to cook a little bit, but you know, he's been talking on TED and he's like, hey, we need to eat healthy, mate, you know. And that's all good, but you know, he's not the only person that's ever said that in the world. Yet he's built his whole brand about it. And you know, my mother's cooking's far better and far more healthy than his, but she's not up on TED. I wouldn't want her up on TED. So I thought about this, and I'd like to say that it was one of those Isaac Newton moments where the apple hit me on the head. It was similar to that, but okay, I'm overplaying it a bit. This is what I think. We spend our career like this. We start our career somewhere around here with little to no knowledge of our subject matter. And over the years, we work our way across. Now, okay, that's probably super uber genius level. We have a lot of enthusiasm around here, and then towards the middle, we kind of like reach middle age, we get married, have kids maybe, or we adopt kittens and dogs, and we kind of like, you know, buy Fitbits and want to get fitter and join CrossFit and all that other kind of stuff that you see the middle-aged sort of crew on Twitter doing. So we sort of hover around there, but that's all we do. We work our way up and we say, okay, if I'm the most knowledgeable person in this particular field of security, if I know how to do log management better than anyone else, if I know how to do pen testing better than anyone else, maybe that way I can become the man or the woman. But it doesn't quite work like that, because there's an element missing to this. And wrong button. The second dimension to it is, am I in your way? Sorry, madam. It's the communications reach, or fame index, or whatever you want to call it. How good are we at communicating what we do with people who we do it? And okay, you might be sitting there. That's not really a profound statement. We all know that security people are really crap at communicating, and is there a translation in between? You can communicate business speak into techno speak, but you look at the basics of it, and you see. Okay, a few weeks ago I was on Twitter and I said, okay, if you had to put together a crack commando security team, who would you put in there? Yeah, who would you put in there? So names came up: Chris Nickerson, Ian Amit, or who are the other people? Scott Turban. I'd want him on my open source intelligence. That kind of stuff came up, and these are all guys. Josh Corman's name came up a couple of times, and these are all guys who we know and we respect. That's a good name. That's a good name. That's a good name. I thought, yeah, I'd probably have all of those in my team. And then I thought, well, you know what? I've never actually worked with any of these people. I really don't really know how they like to work with, but I've got this impression. I've got this image built up in my mind that these guys are cool. Their comms, the way they portray their skill set and how they explain it is marvelous. So we have like these different levels of communications. So as you go up the chart, you communicate initially within the echo chamber. We talk amongst ourselves. We talk about just to security people. After a period of time, we maybe excel that, and people start talking within the industry, so the wider IT or the business industry as a whole. And some people have reached that. And the people that reach the height of that become public figures. They get invited to speak on very public forums. So maybe something like TED, which is a very public forum to talk, or a mainstream sort of like news outlet, or something like that. So that's generally how it works. And this is where it gets really interesting. So once I mapped this out, I thought, okay, where am I on this chart? And where do I want to be? And this varies for everyone. I'm not saying everyone really needs to get really cool at communications and get into the public space because that's going to solve the problems. No, it is a very individual thing. For some people it's about increasing their knowledge and that's what brings them satisfaction. For others it's like they want to not really focus on that as much as that. I knew I'd reached a peak probably in like how much I was really going to learn or how much I was willing to learn in terms of like really minor fine details on the subject matter, but then there was other skills I wanted to develop. I wanted to develop better speaking skills, better writing skills, better communication skills. So I wanted to move up a bit. So I thought, okay, whatever little knowledge I have, if I can share that more effectively, I'll be more happy with that. It's not necessarily about knowing a great deal and like doing it. It's about being more effective with the knowledge I do have. And then I looked at a few people. You might know this person. It's Andy. His handle's Integral on Twitter. And I asked him before I used his mug on here, so he's probably cool with it. But okay, where would I put him? I look at him and I think, well, maybe he's one of those middle of the icon's deliberately big, so you can say there's a range where he could fit into, because I didn't want to particularly say how good or bad he was. But okay, his knowledge is pretty decent, and he's pretty, well embedded within the echo chamber of security. By the way, the echo chamber isn't a derogatory term. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a very good thing. We should be communicating, because there's some people who are very much on the line. They worked in security for like 20 years, and not even anyone in the echo chamber knows them outside their immediate team. HD Moore. Who's heard of HD Moore? Yeah. Where do you think he is on the scale? Where would you put him? Anyone?
Industry?
Industry?
He does that risk a lot, right?
Yeah, so he's probably in the industry and knowledge. Would you say he's more knowledgeable than Integral or less?
He's got to be way on the right.
Yeah, wait, up and to the right, he says.
Oh my God.
That's where I probably reckon he is. Like, every now and then he'll pop up above the public thing.
Yeah.
But there's a whole thing behind that. Obviously, he's now works for Rapid7, and they've got a PR machine, and he then will go. So it's not just about, hey, look, I've done this research and I found some vulnerabilities in UPnP. It's all about, okay, here's the raw data, here's a media-friendly white paper, here's a really cool blog, here's me talking to all the journalists one at a time to explain the issue, and boom, it suddenly explodes. As security researchers typically are, I found a bug, move on, next one. I found a bug, document it, move on. And they don't want to spend time doing that. So that's where the difference lies. Kevin Riggins, who knows Kevin Riggins? So Yeah, my man over there. I'd say he probably, he's like an older version of, that's probably the typical career path, most people end up taking. They start there, they get a bit of knowledge, a bit more sort of notoriety, and, that's like, over the course of 5-10 years or what have you. Bruce Schneier, the dinosaur of information security. He wrote a really cool cryptography book like 500 years ago, and that was way ahead of its time. And it was cool, and he knew his stuff. Has he kept his knowledge up to the industry as time's gone on? My personal opinion, I don't think so. I think it's gone too far wishy-washy and trust society, man, we need trust models and like whatever. I don't know why I'm doing that voice, but he doesn't even sound like it. But he's, so I think that's how he went. He went there, he was in the top right for a while, and now he's kind of like fed up. But the residual of his communication has lasted. So whether his knowledge has or hasn't, his residual sort of like communications has lasted there. So if Bruce Schneier says something, if he posted an opinion on a blog post, whether we agree or disagree with it, we're talking amongst there. We're disagreeing within the echo chamber. Nobody gives a flying flip about that. He's up there. Last one on here before I move on. World's #1 hacker.
Even where he is.
We could leave him where he is. But I'm not. His comms reach is probably greater than Bruce Schneier's. His knowledge is in the negative. And I think that's very telling in that what differentiates a charlatan from someone that's actually respectable? It's knowledge. In other words, talk about what you know you're talking about, and even if you know very little, if you communicate it well, you'll get some level of respect and attention, and you won't try to get lynched by the echo chamber over here, who no one really pays attention to outside of the echo chamber. So that was one thing I was very conscious of. I don't want to end up like Gregory Evans. I don't want to get up here and say, hey, I've got a really technical talk I want to give you guys today, because you guys would rip the shit out of me, and I would end up, looking even worse than I do. So this was my key discovery. If you don't take anything away from here, remember that that's like the new magic quadrant for information security professionals. Trademarked. You can talk to me about licensing afterwards. What it boils down to is messaging. You have a message. We all have a message, and some of us rant about it, some of us rave about it, some of us like get our panties in a right bunch about it. But we have web apps, they're not secure, risk management's not done properly, but it needs to be underpinned by great delivery. We need to deliver it in a way that people actually understand it. Otherwise, it's just that crazy lunatic in the corner, with a sandwich board or something, the end of the world is near, or what have you. And we have to step out of that. We have to say, okay, there's something, and even if we're really passionate, I don't know if you went to Violet Blue's talk earlier today, and she spoke about the B-side San Fran incident. But she was very matter-of-fact about it, and it's a very emotional thing. If I was in that situation, I'd be getting up, jumping up and down. Get your pitchforks, let's go and kill some other people or whatever. And, no, she was matter-of-fact. This is what happened, this is what happened. Okay, I'm really upset about it, but okay, here's how we address the issue, and very matter-of-fact about it. That's great delivery. A great message with great delivery. It actually, appeals to the intellect. It's even when it's an emotional issue. So understanding this set me off on this road. This road where I went from being a nobody to slightly less of a nobody. And where I was never getting calls back from recruiters, I was never getting my call for paid presentations accepted, because I look at the name, who the hell is that? I don't even know how to pronounce his name. They still don't, but they'll accept me. And not only that, I get invited to come and say, hey, would you come along and speak? Why? Because we think you know your stuff. I don't, but okay, I'll come along and speak. I was going to talk about this kind of different places that I've gone and spoken and done, but instead I put together a really quick montage because everything's easier with a montage, isn't it? So yeah, that's my quick montage and how it actually has changed my life, and you can see by the photos, because photos can never be photoshopped, and they're completely true reflections. So I find myself in this, in the upper echelons of the security elite, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Mika Hipponen, who you saw on there, who actually came up to me and said, "Hi, you're Javva, I love your videos." I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, other guys as well, so, you know, people who I couldn't have imagined speaking to before, they actually come up to me and say, "Hey, I love your work," or, you know, you could do this a bit better or worse, or whatever, but it's great, it's some form. So it means that the delivery mechanism is working that I've adopted through YouTube, and it's not about secret handshakes, it's not about who you know. Okay, I'll put a caveat there. If you're at a conference not called B-Sides, if you give people money, they might give you a platform to speak. Places like B-Sides, we don't work like that. It's about better content and voting, and hopefully. But aside from that, you know, putting those sponsored talks and sponsored articles and all that kind of stuff aside, you know, people are looking for good content, and they're looking for great delivery of that good content. You could have the best material in the world, but if you can't present it or deliver it in a meaningful manner, you might as well just sit up here and read the dictionary out and say. Some people might say it causes a bit of an ego issue. Hey, look, you're out there speaking everywhere, you're putting up montages of how great you are. Surely it must get to your head. Sometimes it does, I won't lie. But it's a byproduct. It's like, I say the word like a lot, don't I? Okay. It's similar to how people like Steve Jobs or other very successful and wealthy people say money is the byproduct of what they follow their passion, and money comes as a byproduct. Similarly, I'm out there trying to deliver my message of security, and fame or ego or recognition is a byproduct of that. And that's really largely down to the delivery mechanism I've chosen, which is primarily using videos. I could just as easily, behind different mediums, say if it's just written, you could use a handle or, you know, a pseudonym or something, and you know, you don't fall into that ego trap if you think that you won't be able to handle that rock stardom that comes along with it. Okay, so that's my story. Now, probably the burning question is, where do you start? Where do you start? So there's so much social media, there's so many different channels you can go out and interact with. So what do you choose? How do you go about doing it? Well, when you look around, there's lots of social media channels out there, and the choice is, well, which one do I pick? Is one better than the other? I've heard some podcasts, and they're awesome. Maybe I should do a podcast, or you know, there's you know, so and so writes really good. Brian Krebs does some really fantastic like journalistic articles. Maybe I should write like Brian Krebs. And then you start writing, and you realise, shit, I can't write. I can't string together more than 3 sentences in a coherent way, unless it's on Twitter. So people often ask me, like, what's the best mechanism? What's the best route that you should take? And then you get this definition of what's the best. What is the best? I don't know, little jig there. I don't know why. Okay, if you do a search on YouTube for, this doesn't have sound, what's the best dancer in the world, you'll find this clip as, I found it as number 1. It'll probably be on the top few. Now, is he the best dancer in the world, really? Is he better than Michael Jackson? Is he better than Fred Astaire? Is he better than Justin Timberlake? I'm running out of pop references now. Okay, And the fact of the matter is, Fred Astaire was the best at Fred Astaire dancing. Justin Timberlake is the best at Justin Timberlake dancing. And Michael Jackson was the best at grabbing his crotch and going, So what it comes down to is, you need to find what's best for you. And what the best for you is, the best authentic you. It's very, we are in an industry which we are forced to think as individuals all the time. We find our way around problems, and that's like the hacker mindset or the security mindset. Is like, you're trying to look at things in different ways. And that's really great on a technological level. However, when we go into a communication level, or when we choose our social media channel, we kind of like lose that. We kind of like lose that creativity, and we start trying to emulate others. So we say, oh, Exotic Liability, fantastic podcast. I want a podcast just like Exotic Liability. No, that's great for them. Maybe your style of podcasting is different, if podcasting is your thing at all. So you need to choose what's the best mechanism for you, and you need to try it and find it. There's no easy way to figure out what that is. This is my delivery platform. I call it a platform because it's a collection of things, and that sounds cool. It's kind of like a vendor term. We don't have a product, we have a platform. So YouTube is my dominant delivery channel. I use Twitter, and I blog a bit, and I come up and speak, and I write a little bit. But YouTube dominates it all, and everything else supports it. So it's not just one channel, it's like several channels, and you choose what best fits for you. Some people love Twitter, other people hate Twitter. I mean, it's just whatever works for you, whatever fits in with your thing. The other thing I found really, really useful, how much are we doing on time?
Oh, we're good. We're not even halfway.
Oh, cool, awesome. Is mentorship. And it doesn't need to be a really formal thing, and I put the S deliberately there, because, you need to look out for people who can give you really constructive feedback and advice, and support you through this process, because it's not always an easy process. And it doesn't need to be a really formal thing. It can just be a group of really good trusted friends who you can give you really good feedback, because people are a bit hesitant to give you honest feedback. So if I at the end say, hey, someone give me some good feedback, or someone give me some feedback on my talk, a lot of you will be really polite and come and say, that was good, I really enjoyed it, nice to meet you. But the real feedback is like that gentleman there who's walking out. It's like, yeah, your talk is shit. That's fine. That's real feedback right there, yeah? So, but, you don't always get to hear that bad feedback. So maybe you can nominate someone. I tend to generally nominate someone in the audience, say, okay, you're my best friend. Tell me really how badly I sucked at the end of it. These are some of the board members that constitute my mentorship board. These are people who've helped me tremendously over the years in what I've done, and it's just something that works for me. Maybe some people are not very good at making friends and what have you. So that's cool. Something really cool comes up here now. Hold on. Okay. So then, actually, how many people have actually ever seen a video of mine? Okay, cool, most of you. So you know what I'm talking about then now. So a common question I get is, okay, how do you come up with the idea, or how do you execute on a video, or what makes it really cool, or really engaging? What are the, I see the stats. Some videos really go viral, others, barely. My mum even doesn't even watch it. So how do I go about doing it? And the methodology I follow is as follows. I come up with a concept. What's the idea I want to spread? That's the. So it might be something like compliance does not equal security. Yeah, simple to get concept. We generally agree with. What's the next step I do? I undertake some research on that to actually validate that concept. Because one thing I found is I have a lot of concepts, or I've had a lot of concepts that actually when I started researching it, I've actually changed my mind on it because it was just a whim, or just a gut feeling, or something I just picked up off Twitter. And when I actually researched it, I thought, well, no, maybe it's not the case. But okay, in this case, I researched it and I thought, yes, security and compliance are not the same things, definitely. Now I get creative. And this is where sometimes I struggle. It could be a process that takes 30 seconds to 3 days. But okay, what's the analogy? How can I draw an analogy? How can I explain it? Will my daughter understand it if I explain to her what I'm talking about? And so, you know, I might go, okay, in this one, I'll said, to be compliant to ride a motorbike in the UK, the law states you have to wear a helmet. It doesn't have to be full face helmet, it can be an open face helmet. You don't need eyewear, and you don't need any gloves, you don't need any protective clothing of any sort. So you can wear an open face helmet and a string vest, flip-flops, and shorts. And you will be compliant to ride a motorbike. Is that secure? No. Okay, I'll work with that. That analogy kind of stretches out. That works. What do I do then? I create a video on the topic saying security and compliance are not the same thing. I'll write a blog on the topic. I'll tweet about the topic. The key thing here, though, is the message is tailored for each individual channel. And this is something a lot of people over time have not agreed with me on. And I always maintain that each medium is different. Each medium deserves a different delivery style. For example, I think the people in this room, you're getting a far richer experience, for better or worse, of this presentation than those watching in TV land through the recording over there. Why? Because when we're face to face, there's not really any room for ambiguity. If you know, you can see me, I can see you, we can like smile and nod and give obscene gestures and all that kind of stuff. And on the video, it doesn't work like that, and you lose a lot of that. And you know, when people are going to watch it on a 4-inch screen on their laptop or something, and the audio quality might not be great and what have you. So what would I do? I take this talk and I'll create a 2.5, 3-minute video. I'll make it bam, bam, bam. I'll put some sound effects into it. I'll make it really pretty. It's almost like a trailer for a movie. And I find that works far better. It'll captivate the attention. Why? Because I'm not worried about all the detail that comes into it. I'm worried about getting the concept across. As long as people understand and agree with the concept, they can work out the rest themselves. So, you know, it's got to be tailored. So Steve Jobs or Apple were really good at this. When they launched the... Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. So, we'll be down to one person at the end. Oh my God, I better up my game. As Apple were really good at it. When they released, say, what was the iPod? 1,000 pockets in your 1,000 pockets in your song, 1,000 songs in your pocket. And that went out on their marketing, and that went out on their tweets, and that was the strap line. And you know, but when he done his presentation, he went into a great deal of detail. The print adverts had different levels of detail, and the tweets or the other medias had different levels of detail. So that's a good model to follow. You might not get it correct every time, but it's a decent model. I find it works. That's the easy part. The next part is to nut up or shut up. Those who don't recognize, that's a quote from Zombieland, Woody Harrelson's character, and I love it. The film's good as well. But getting all that is easy. You've done all that hard work, you've researched, you've got the concept, you've put it out to your channels, and that's pretty easy. There's a part that follows it, which is where it's very easy to lose all hope and say, I'm never going to do this again. Let me show you something.
It's a big physical change for you.
It's a huge physical change because I remember talking to Sidney Lumet saying, I love the character, but how am I going to like Fat Jack DeNosia? And Sidney Lumet said, we have ways. We have ways. We have ways. And little did I know was 2 hours of makeup every morning. And little did I know was 2 hours of makeup every morning. 2 hours of makeup every morning. And a quart of ice cream a day. I ate a quart of ice cream every day. Just a quarter a day of ice cream. Of ice cream. When I first directed my short film, Multifacial, what I used for confidence to direct that movie was a book by Sidney Lumet called Making Movies. And what I used for confidence was a book called Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. I wrote a book called Making Movies by Sidney Lumet to get the confidence. To get the confidence to direct the film, I read a book called Making Movies by Sidney Lumet.
So, For those of you who didn't recognize it, that was world famous Hollywood Z-lister Vin Diesel. He was promoting one of his movies, 35 pounds for it. What that shows is he went on 10, 12, whatever, how many different talk shows to promote the film. This is what all movie stars do. It's normally part of their contract. And what the clip was showing is that he gave the very same answer to, it was pre-scripted, but it's the very same answer to all the questions time and time again. So what? What does it mean to us? What happens in security? User calls up. I don't know how this new encryption thing works. How do I use it? Well, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. By the way, if you look on the SharePoint site, the documentation's there. Next user calls up. The fucking documentation's on SharePoint. Third user calls up. You hang up on him straight away. You go on Twitter and you say, fucking users, don't read the manual. They're idiots. They're imbeciles. I hate this job. I want to kill myself. Someone find me a better place on this planet to go to. There's a special space reserved in hell for these users.
You need to put a sign on the front page of the wiki.
Sorry?
If it's something that they can't find regularly, you put a sign on the front page of the wiki.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the difference between how we react, how we generally go about interacting with users. Do we have that same level of patience? Do we have the same? You see it on Twitter, and since I've become an analyst for Fucking Research, the greatest analyst company in the world, cheap plug. But I get to deal with a lot of journalists and that kind of thing. Journalists, press people asking for opinion, and so I'm sort of hanging around in those circles, and you speak to some people, and they're like, oh my god, these journalists are so dumb. They come asking the same questions, or the questions are really, no offense. We have a journalist in the front. They ask the same questions or stupid questions. They don't understand the issues, and I don't have time to go and explain it to them. Well, why not? Isn't that part of your job? Isn't that what we're here to do? Aren't we here? We can't fix every single web app out there on the planet. There's just too many. And people talk about the skills gap. Well, of course there's a fucking skills gap. You've got 50 web apps for every person on the planet. You're not going to get everyone doing that. What we need to do is we need to say, okay, this is the concept, this is it. Let's spread the word, and let's get other people to become self-reliant. So at least even if they can't fix it themselves, they can at least identify when something's wrong, and they can call someone who knows how to fix it. If I can't change the spare wheel on my car, at least I've got membership with the breakdown service, and they can come and change it for me. But what if I don't even know what a flat tire is? I don't even know that how a tire should be. It's communication. Pretty poor, eh? So the next step then is what I do. Yeah, there's loads of steps. I don't know, is this like one of those Alcoholics Anonymous, is it? Like 7-step program or something? Is you put your personal brand or you put your communications on steroids. And that's what it's all about. God, they're dropping like flies. Thank you. Fish and chips. Our national diet. By our, I mean Britain's. Both of these are more or less the same, okay, minus the peas and the lemon. It's fish and it's chips. Pretty much identical nutritional quality. Would I buy my girlfriend that, or would I take her to a restaurant there? I take her there. That's for my wife. How do I present my findings? How do we present security findings to the world? We say, okay, we found this great exploit, and the code's over there. Here's the source code, and you can download it and use it yourself in the VM, and it's really easy. Well, is it? Easy for you, easy for some people in this room. Is it easy for everybody? How's it packaged up? Again, I'll go back to the HD Moore when he find UPnP. That's a great example. Look at all the different channels in which that's done. There's specialists, they've got the more techie boards there for people to ask the more technical questions. There's different PR people dealing with press for the more like layman's terms. How do we present our stuff? So this is like a gradual metamorphosis of what I went through. I This was like one of the earlier versions of my website, a standard template, and yeah, it looked all right. And then I thought, well, okay, now maybe I need to improve it. So eventually, I got a graphic designer, a proper one, not like a mate who knows how to code a bit, to design. And it sort of like looks a bit better. It's cleaner. It highlights the fact that I make videos. There's some quirky little things there that I think work better. Same thing with my videos. When I started off, hey, chopped off on the top and poor contrast and really static, and I look back at them and say, oh, they were really crap. I mean, why did anyone ever watch them? Why did I ever continue making them? And now they're a bit more cinematic. I know how to do filters on them. I know how to do widescreen and all that kind of stuff. 10 minutes. Okay, I'll hurry it up. How many sort of like really good security websites do you go to are still black background, green matrix text on the front? Yeah. This is going back to fish and chips. Same nutritional content, but it's presented in a really bad way. It's like it automatically puts up this barrier. I'm a geek. If you're not a geek, you're probably not welcome here. We don't like your kind around here. How do you change it? How do you make it more accessible? How do you make it more friendly? There's I'm deviating slightly, but there's a study done by car companies, and you open the door and the interior light comes on. Yep, everyone knows that. And you close the door, and traditionally the light just boom off. And what they then experimented was they close the door and the light dims off. So it takes about a second or 2 seconds, it dims and then goes off. And they found that people that when they came to do a test drive or check out the car, the lights which dimmed and went off had a higher satisfaction rate. People were like, wow, this something more special about this car. They're like, why is that? So they looked at it and said, well, it's linked to the cinema effect. You know when a movie is about to start, the lights dim slowly and the curtains open. So it's that anticipation, expectation, something magical is going to happen, something special is going to happen. And that's what, that induced that, which is why I had a trailer sort of thing at the front, the little, I'm trying to reproduce that. I'm trying to say, hey man, this is a movie, this is kind of like a 3D movie, a short fat bearded bloke out front. But, it kind of like, works in the same way. Feelings are important too. Raw data information might work for us because that's the world we live in. Other people are looking for a story. They're looking for an emotional attachment to things. They want a reason to care. Okay, I'll tell you the name of a film. I'll explain a film to you. First one to guess it gets a drink from me. Daughter kidnapped, man goes, kills people, brings back daughter. Taken. Who said that? Here you go, sir. You are the winner of a drink.
That's not fair. You don't drink.
Yeah, I don't. But then you drag it out into a 2-hour movie that some people actually said that was pretty good, enjoyable. They liked it. So the concept is very small, but then you expand it. You make it interesting. You add drama and you create this attachment to the characters. I wasn't attached to his daughter. Oh, she deserved to get kidnapped. But that was that. And that, do we create that attachment? Pitfalls. There are some pitfalls, and this is where of using social media and what have you. 2 numbers. This is going to be a tough one. Anyone got an idea what these 2 numbers represent? It's kind of related to social media. Okay. I'll maybe that's unfair. 4,543 is the number of words. Now I wish I'd double checked it other than in Wikipedia, but okay. Apparently, in the original, unamended US Constitution, 4,543 words. 14,000, what does that relate to?
All the amendments?
Sorry?
The Constitution with all the amendments?
No, not the amendments. Good try there. Sorry?
IRS tax code?
No.
Only?
Average. The average
There you go.
length of a lot.
Well, okay, I'll tell you that. That's the Facebook Terms of Conditions, Data Use and Cookie Policy. You're telling me that a website used for sharing your kids' pictures, primarily, or your cats, is 3.5 times more important or difficult to regulate than the greatest country on the nation, USA. Are you saying that's the case? Why? That's a pitfall. That, it just shows how complex this social media is. 5 minutes. There are a lot of pitfalls. So, are you aware of what you're putting out there? Set some ground rules. Okay, I'm never going to post anything on social media drunk or angry, or, maybe you're not going to swear. Maybe you're going to keep it PG friendly. These are some like my personal rules. Everyone will have their own rules depending on how they want to be portrayed. But think about it. It's a bit like getting a tattoo now, putting anything on social media. It might be funny and cool at the time, but 6 months down the line when you're applying for your next job and your next potential boss is looking at that, will you find it funny? Or she find it funny? Procrastination flowchart. How many people have ever started a blog with the best of intentions of updating it and then it's not been updated for the last 3, 6 months, a year, or what have you? Yes, I've been there too. In fact, Tony was just telling me earlier, it's been 3 weeks since you put a video out there. What's the matter? It means getting out of your comfort zone, because you're getting your concepts, your ideas, and you're putting it out there to the world, and you're going to get pushback, you're going to get challenges. It's not a comfortable experience for many people, especially like me. I still am quite shy and non-confrontational person, and excuse me. It goes out there. This relates back to the ego issue. Don't believe the hype. You might put out a really good blog post and people might retweet it and people say, that was great, I really love the work you've done on it. But that's got a very short half-life. That's forgotten very quickly, and you're only as good as your last post or your last bit of research or what have you. Don't let it get to your head. And that's probably more for me than anyone else. I try to avoid negative people. There are plenty of people trying to pull you down in this world. We don't need any of them. And there's a difference between trolling and feedback. And feedback I welcome, and if any of you who've actually, I'm infinitely grateful to for staying till this late when so many of your comrades have fallen. I've got some. But yeah, get feedback. Even if it's good or bad, make it useful. Even bad feedback is useful feedback. But trolling is not feedback. Trolling is unhelpful. Yeah, that doesn't help anyone. If you don't like someone, you don't like someone. I think fair enough. There's plenty of other people on the planet. Don't spend your time and effort spouting hatred and vitriol towards them. And there's a lot of that goes on in our culture as well. There's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of people blaming. Yeah, rise above it. Ignore it. So quickly summarize some key points, because I thought a summarize of key points slide looks really cool. And I've read that 3 points are more than enough. So share with no expectation. We're not here to really become the next meme on the internet. It's about sharing stuff with no expectation of any return. When I first started blogging or creating videos, I wasn't expecting anyone to look at it. I've done it because I've enjoyed it, and I thought if even one person watches it and one person sort of gets an idea from it, that's the difference I've made. I made this video on don't encrypt passwords. It explains the difference between encrypting and hashing and salting. And it got a few hits. And then a few weeks later, LinkedIn got breached. And then it went skyrocketed. It got LinkedIn everywhere and everything. So there was no expectation. It just happened. Be consistent. Don't fall into the procrastination trap. And feelings are important too. Think about how you make people feel. You might be absolutely right. The web developer absolutely got it wrong. But if you walk in there, kick their ass, and walk out and they're feeling like shit, what have you really achieved? What have they really learned? Are we, I'm not saying let's all become like touchy-feely, everything like that, but I got it. It's in the bag. Feelings are important too. And you see this in movies quite a lot, where they'll play a movie, and it could be like, especially in rom-coms, where there's a lot of angst and, sort of like, ooh, he cheated on me, and so I'm breaking up with him, and then there's a lot of this drama and tension. Not that I watch these films. And in the end, they get together. And then what do? At the end, they play something upbeat while the credits are rolling to make people feel happy. So they walk out thinking, yeah, no, that was a good film. I walk out feeling happy about myself. So we can do that with what we do in security. And I think we can make people feel better about themselves and more secure about themselves at the same time. On that note. Cool. Thank you very much for that. I will entertain any questions, and in return you shall get drinks vouchers, if you're very quick.
So how would you roll that into developing a security awareness program? Because I have like kids / developers in like many countries, and we were doing like a hunt the bug game. I don't know, it's more like that's really cool because it gives me ideas of how to make my kids like hunt the bug easier.
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. These are all techniques you can use for user awareness plans. Nothing I've said here it can't be applied there. So you're just looking at where your comms reach going. So instead of echo chamber and industry and public, you're looking, is it departmental wide or company wide? And then you apply the same strategies there. The thing is about it's got to be engaging, it's got to be interesting, it's got to be relevant. And internally, it's a bit of a problem because you get a lot of pushback internally. Oh, we can't use comedy in our user awareness. Heaven forbid someone cracks a smile. Or we can't do this or that. But don't be afraid to take chances and push the boat. What's the worst that could happen?
I make a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't put a cap on it.
No, that's it. You got a question, sir?
Yes. Time and money investment.
Time and money investment. Good question. I done the typical douche thing when I started out, and I bought an expensive DSLR, and I got expensive editing software, and then I realized I didn't need it. You don't need anything to start with. So financially, I say, you're all hackers. Think like hackers. You can find stuff that works. You can record videos on your iPhone. You can edit it on iMovie or Windows Movie Maker. It's not that difficult. A lot of people do that kind of stuff. Time is an investment, but we invest time in everything we do. It's the nature of our work. We spend just as much time coding stuff and trying to find bugs and preparing presentations and coming to conferences. The time is there. It's about how do you juggle it and create it. But, yes, sir.
What if things goes wrong on a public media, right? I mean, assuming everything will go right, it's a good feeling. But then if something goes wrong, it's
Like
very
what?
hard to
Like what could go wrong?
Like if you post something and you get a lot of criticism, and then maybe,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how to get back to.
No? Cool. Good question. You get a lot.
Give me a drinks for me.
Security through security.
You get a lot of criticism. So there's two reasons you get criticism when you put something out there. Maybe there's more. One is you're actually wrong.
Okay.
Yeah? And the second one is you're right, but people didn't like the way in which you presented it, or they don't like you as a person. Yeah? The first one is, hey, we all make mistakes. Yeah. And it's all about, it's like incident response, isn't it? Mistakes happen. It's an accepted way of life. Now what do? Now you still use your social media channel to correct that. It's not about running away and saying, oh crap. If you look at some of the, I've got this whole talk as well about like using social media and PR for incident response. When LinkedIn got breached, they were really terrible at it. They spent ages before they actually acknowledged anything went wrong. So acknowledge something went wrong, take ways to fix it. So maybe you want to remove that post, or maybe you want to edit it. Maybe you want to work with others. This is where the mentors come in really handy. If you create something, now what I do, if I create a video on a topic that I'm not 100% an expert on, what I'll do is I'll send it to someone first privately and say, hey man, you're an expert on SQL injection. What do you think of this? Is it correct? Is it not? They'll say yes or no. The other one is people don't like your delivery style or personality, and you don't have to change for that, but you can take on board what elements, maybe it's a good opportunity for you, as long as they're not trolling, yeah? If they're genuinely saying, I think that's terrible, then there's a good opportunity to sort of like have a conversation, say, okay, what didn't you like? So you might say, hey man, the way you stood beside the podium and leaned against it, I really hated that, irritated. Okay, well maybe that's good feedback. Maybe I need to stand more upright, and maybe my body language is crap, but I'd say try something like that. You have something?
So one of the things too is you got to look at what the intent is. I mean, if you screw something up, but your intent is to try to do the right thing, people are usually relatively forgiving, and you definitely want to use your media channels. But you want to get that network of people that'll support you together. I mean, it takes everybody. And a lot of stuff that Javva's doing, I mean, look, there's not a playbook for this stuff. How many other people are doing video blog stuff? He's way out there. When you do stuff as progressive as Javva's doing, there are no rules, You want to do, but his intent is the right intent, and so people are going to be very forgiving.
And how do you keep the balance between appealing to the mass people and also giving the technical stuff? I mean, I don't know, I haven't done much research about what you do and all, but I'll probably look you up. But then the thing is, how do you keep that balance?
You define who you want your market to be.
Okay.
You define it.
Okay.
So yes.
Fame by association is often a common method in order to get yourself by being famous, and getting someone else who is famous mentioning you. What do you think about that strategy? You do like it? Have you got any recommendations of how to achieve it?
Excellent. Fame by recommendation. People often, if I drop someone's name in a talk over here, they got famous through association. Excellent point. Now, the point is, are we after fame? Is that the primary goal?
Fame or followers?
Fame or followers? And no. Why should that be our goal? Our goal should be, we want people to know about security. Now, if you create good work, if you've done some good research, there's no harm in sharing it with key influencers. Yes, if you've done some good work, you've said, hey, here's a really cool way to do this. You send it to me, for example, say, what do you think of this? I might create a video around it. I might say, hey, here's a really cool. Why? Because it's something of value. I see value in it, and I will mention you through the value of your work. And that's far more, so that's what we should be aiming for, creating something of value that other people can take and share it on. And that's the definition when you look at social media, what is viral? When we say something's gone viral, what does it mean? What it actually means, it's not about getting tens of millions of hits. It's about when I've shared something with you, and you forwarded it on to even one person without me asking or without any other reason that you want them to see that as well because it touched you in a way. That's the definition of viral. It's gone out of the originator's control. And that's what we're trying to do with social media. We're trying to get stuff people, create content that people enjoy so much that they share it on. Yes, ma'am?
Is there a point where there's too much PR and you're almost looking like you're pouring yourself out?
Is there a tipping point for too much PR? I think that deserves two. Yes, it's a very yes and no. So it depends on what channels you're actually PRing in. So I could write, I produce a video and then I'll tweet it. I'll put it on Google+, I'll put it on my Facebook page. They're different. There's some overlap of audience, but they're different categories. And that's perfectly cool, and I could then send it out to friends and connectors and what have you, say, hey, what do you think of this, what do you think of this? What's really bad and annoying is when I tweet the same thing every hour. Hey, in case you missed this in the West Coast, and in case you missed this in the East Coast, and then you look really needy, and I think it dilutes the value of what you're doing. You definitely should have a release schedule and a release plan. That's another thing could have gone into. But so for example, I'm in London, so when I do publish a video, I'll do it late in the afternoon over there, so people are still waking up in the US. So I capture a larger audience base, because according to my stats, that's where the majority of my viewers are in English-speaking countries. And so I'll time it for that, and then I'll do the Facebook and everything all at the same time. And then throughout, then I'll space it out and what have you. But then if an incident happens that's directly related to something I've done, then I'll probably retweet something from old, just say, hey, by the way, this links into that. You might have not made the connection, and there's that. But it's a delicate balance at times. I know some people, they go way over the top, and then they get unfollowed on Twitter, basically, because they look like this about us. Yes, sir.
Oftentimes when new research is published, the media will pick it up and report completely wrong, and then media reports each other, and everyone's wrong. How do you deal with that kind of thing, with the media screwing things up?
So media, if they take something that you've published and they misinterpret it,
yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, cool. So this comes down to a couple of factors. So it's very easy to blame the media, to say you got it wrong and you're idiots. And sometimes that might be true, because there could be a lazy journalist. There could be a lazy journalist who doesn't research something or looking for the more sensational angle. more often than not, it's because we probably didn't explain something clearly enough. We made some assumptions that people understand the language that we speak, and this is a very difficult one to get around because we socialize and interact in those circles that understand everything. So when we talk about a blog, when we talk about tweets, people who don't use Twitter, it's very alien to them. They don't understand what Twitter is, and and I'm not talking about old people. I'm talking about even young and pretty cool people. If they don't use it, they won't understand it. So the onus is on us to sometimes create several versions of the same thing. Going back to H.C. Moore again, UPnP, there's a journalist-friendly version, there's someone there to take calls from journalists, or there's what have you. But in the case where the genie gets out the bottle, it's an opportunity. You're never going to completely rectify it, but there's an opportunity to engage in dialogue, offer to speak to that journalist or that publisher, and in a very non-confrontational manner. No one likes to be told you're a dickhead, you got it wrong. It's about, okay, I think you've misunderstood it. Can we have a chat? Can we have a coffee? Something like that. It's all about building up those relations. And what would then happen is next time that journalist actually gets a call or writes an article, they might actually give you a call and say, what's your opinion on this? Yeah, and that's when okay. I've established some value there because I've taken the time to explain, and my opinion is valued to the level that now they want to ask me for my opinion and get my input in there. And that's when your comms reach increases exponentially. Still got drinks vouchers. Cool. Thank you very much for that. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for staying to the end. I'm heading off to Black Hat now because I have some work stuff to do, but I will be here for the after party, so if everyone wants to get one of these 3 drinks off me or just chat or say hi, I'll be more than happy to.